Look at this World Cup footage from 2018. 2 teams, one in blue, one in green. But every identifying feature has been stripped. No faces, no kits, and no skin tone. The players' movements reduced to wireframes. So, based only on what you can see here, which team looks more athletic? When a group of football fans watched this video, 62% said that the team in blue looked more athletic. That team was Poland, playing in a match against Senegal. But what happens when people watch the original broadcast? In this version, the judgment flips. Now, 70% said that the more athletic team was Senegal. This study by Sam Gregory et al. Provides strong evidence for what researchers call the pace and power effect.
He goes to his left, and it's the pace, the power that shocks Jorgensen.
Football emulates social patterns, so it's like a microcosm of what is happening outside of it.
The pace and power effect describes a pattern where darker-skinned players are more often praised for physical traits like speed, strength, explosiveness, or athleticism, whilst lighter-skinned players are more often praised for cognitive traits. The pace and power effect in commentary is often meant as praise, which can make it difficult to challenge. That was Zito Madu's point after Senegal beat Poland in the 2018 World Cup. Senegal had won through sharp passing and intelligent movement, but the language around them kept returning to the same frame, pace and power. Most of the credit went to their physicality. Madu was writing about one match, but is this part of a wider pattern? That's what LIS graduate Alex Doyle wanted to find out. Every LIS Bachelor student ends their degree with a capstone, independent research into a complex problem that they are passionate about. Alex combined anthropology, data science, and natural language processing to find out if football commentary has a wider racial bias.
When language is being spoken about in an emotionally charged environment, it's much more likely to be encoded into a long-term memory or subconscious beliefs, and therefore, if you are constantly hearing these reductive stereotypes, they're going to then influence how you think and how you see groups of people.
If you think about the iconic Chelsea team throughout the years, they always had that physicality, that strength. So many good technically gifted players, but big, strong men ready to fight.
Alex analysed commentary transcripts focusing on 800 Premier League players.
There were 1,107 individual games that were looked at and that were transcribed from the highlight clips. So we're looking at probably the most emotionally charged parts of the game. And the reason that I chose the Premier League over the other leagues is because the global reach of 3.2 billion people is far greater. We would identify the word strong, for example. We'd be able to now see who has been described using that word, and we put all of their faces together to create this average face of the person that was being described as strong. And we did that for 8 physical traits, and then we did that for 8 cognitive traits. For 6 out of the 8 cognitive traits, it depicts a lighter skinned athlete. For every single one of the physical traits, the average face depicted a darker skinned athlete. So it was pretty stark. Side by side, you can see the difference.
Another study by Run Repeat and the Professional Footballers Association found similar results, analysing 2,000 lines of commentary from 80 matches across Europe's top leagues. They found that when commentators talked about power, they were more than 6 times as likely to be talking about a darker-skinned player. When they praised intelligence, 62% of that praise went to lighter-skinned players. However, when it came to criticism of intelligence, the pattern flipped. 63% of that criticism was directed at darker-skinned players. This is not unique to football. It echoes what researchers Rada and Wolfmeyer call the brawn versus brains frame in US college basketball and American football.
What a hit! Jonathan Sutton said, "Give me my respect."
J.J. McCarthy understands that instead of trying to force the throw, he sees that open up.
As they put it, when announcers refer to the attributes of white athletes, they often highlight intellectual and cognitive prowess, as well as a blue-collar-like work ethic.
Nice play. He leaves it all out. Whatever it takes, that young guy will provide.
The Run Repeat and PFA study found a similar work ethic bias in football, with 60% of work ethic praise going to lighter-skinned players. That is what makes natural athleticism such a loaded phrase.
So when a player is described as being instinctive, like usually you think, okay, yeah, that's like a really good thing. The way that that actually has a harmful impact is that If something is instinctive, it kind of infers that there's not been a lot of work needed to achieve it. It almost just happens because it just happens. Whereas really, I mean, in any line of work, but if you've worked in football, you'll know that players don't just have instincts because it's there. It's because they have consistently on the training field repeated an action over and over again. It's an accumulation of so much hard work and effort that is not recognised in the language chosen to describe that moment.
This matters because society does not treat work as neutral. Work ethic is tied to character. So when one player is seen as having worked for their excellence and another is treated as if excellence simply arrived in their body, the difference goes beyond simple description. It takes on a moral dimension, and it feeds into Hoku Utu's idea of the racialized athletic body. The darker-skinned athlete imagined as naturally gifted, instinctive and physical.
Here's Lukaku now, like a tank. He's done well.
And in football, those ways of seeing do not stay confined to the commentary box.
I interviewed a player who recounted hearing certain language being passed around by football scouts. And one of these examples is this acronym BBQ, which essentially stands for Big, Black, Quick. Incredibly reductive and harmful way of looking at scouting children, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about children. When they hear this language, not only does it basically reduce them to 3 things, which if they're not these 3 things, are they even going to get scouted? It means that there's no scope for them to express or want to develop other skill sets because they know that already they're not being viewed in the same light as their white peers.
These reductive stereotypes can feed into other inequalities in the game. For instance, black players make up 43% of Premier League footballers, but only 4% of managerial positions. Commentary does not cause that gap by itself, but it is part of a culture that shapes who is seen as management material.
If you had a 10 to 15 year career where you've predominantly been described for traits such as pace and power, you can't pass on pace and power to the next generation as a coach. What you can pass on is leadership, communication, tactical intelligence, things like these that your lighter skinned counterparts would have been consistently praised for throughout their career. So it makes complete sense that they're given more opportunities in the coaching field because they're seen as people that have things to contribute to as opposed to just being quick and strong.
Concentration always his problem, I feel, Robert Sanchez. Stature-wise, he's absolutely the perfect specimen.
People within the game and within wider society begin to view themselves in line with these stereotypes. That's incredibly influential on anyone, like young black kids in this country, how they think about themselves. I see it in my job every day, and I work as a football coach. I'm working in communities that are from low socioeconomic backgrounds, and the difference in terms of how people from certain backgrounds perceive themselves is stark. It's not just what authors say in research papers and books. This is happening. I think that this work has been incredibly beneficial in shaping how I view my role, working with young people, trying to make them recognise the traits that they have in themselves, make sure they feel proud of themselves, because all the external noise that they hear is feeding into this narrative that they haven't had to work for these things, and they have. And quite often they've had to work harder.
A phrase that sounds harmless in the moment can have ripple effects when it is repeated across the world's most watched sport, spreading into punditry, the stands, and day-to-day conversations far beyond the game itself. The words we use to praise someone can also be the words that limit them.